Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I know normally I do a live stream about this time, but it's not going to happen tonight. I'm having technical difficulties one right after another, and about the only way that I can make a video is on my phone at this point. And it's dark, so I can't do one outside. And we live in a small little house, and all the family's in there, and I have a policy of not showing my inside of my home and my family, so the only other option is to sit in the truck. It's either not do it at all and give up, or to push through and against all the who knows what it is. Mostly it's the computer. The computer was having issues, and internet's not doing that good either. But hey, we're going to make it work one way or the other. So it's not a live stream. I apologize. In fact, I think what I might do, I can upload this, but then it'll just be showing kind of as a live. Maybe I'll do that. Lots of crazy stuff going on, and I know no one probably really cares. I mean, some of you might care about this. I don't care about this, but I want to say that it's blowing me away of how many people are still really obsessing about this Miami thing. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, I guess it was New Year's Day in Miami. There was a call come in of a bunch of youth. I think they were probably gang-related stuff, having a big fight at a mall. There was reports coming in that there was a mass shooting. There was fireworks being used, all this kind of stuff, and there is video of that. There's actually lots of video. In fact, several people were live streaming the event. Well, anyways, the Miami police called in just about every available officer, ended up sending out, 70 to 100 officers out there, and that was pretty much it. There's some weird things that did happen. They did shut down the airspace over that area, which is strange. And then they shut down the grid in that area to about 65,000 residents. That's strange, too, over something like that. They only ended up arresting 4 people. But the conspiracy stuff is that it was actually aliens. That aliens landed. There's apparently people that claim that they saw 8 to 10 foot tall aliens walking around, or maybe they were Nephilim or fallen angels or whatever. And there's no real video of that, but that's the what people are really pushing. They're pushing that narrative. Now, is it true? I personally don't think so, but I mean, it could be. Anything could be true anymore. But I suspect that it's maybe a mix between just people. I don't know. They want to believe in something. They want to latch on to something. There's people that are spreading it to get a bunch of views and likes and clicks. And then there could be definitely an aspect of it that's being perpetuated by, the powers that be, spreading this misinformation and spreading fear and confusion and basically using it as a distraction. So I don't know. I understand that that's really probably not that important. It's not that I don't believe that those kinds of things can or will happen necessarily according to the Bible. I think that in the last days that yes, we will start seeing some pretty scary, crazy stuff. At least the people that are around at that time. So, anyways, I had to say it because there's just so much being talked about, and it's almost a little entertaining, but who knows. I haven't really kept up on the news today. It's my Shabbat, and I didn't really pay much attention to the news, so I don't have really any news updates for you. I'm sure all the things that's going crazy is getting crazier. I did hear or see something that I guess Taiwan is really concerned that China may be trying to invade them soon or do some kind of action against them. The whole North and South Korea stuff is continuing to escalate. And then Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Hamas, Iran, Middle East. I mean, it's wars and rumors of wars, folks. That's what we have to deal with. This is the time that we live in. I do believe this. We were living in those days of Noah time period. We are living in that birthing pains, those last days. Now, how far, how big, how long that time period is, I'm no theologian, I'm no expert, and I'm not here to make any predictions that that's going to happen in the next few years or the next few decades, because in saying that, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen next year. But I think we're living in that time period when you start to look at all the biblical prophecies. I'm not saying that Messiah is coming next week. I'm saying that that there's definitely a lot of things that's happened. There's still more things that need to happen. I understand that, but there's definitely a lot of things that's happened that indicate that we are getting closer to that time period. And just the fact that human morality is just completely gone out the window. There's no, this hatred for God, this hatred, against any kind of biblical truths, all that's become so much more profound than it's ever had. Even in my lifetime when I was younger, it didn't mean that everyone believed in God and everyone, did what the Bible told them to do and, had Jesus in their heart and stuff. Not everyone was a Christian, but there was at least a certain level of respect. And the people that absolutely hated that typically kept their mouths shut because society did not approve of that kind of talk. Now it's the other way around. It's almost like if you approve of the Bible and Jesus, Yeshua, if you any of that kind of stuff, now you're the outcast. You're the one that's at certain levels persecuted. Not to the levels of persecution that's being seen in, I think it's Nigeria, where a lot of Christians are losing their lives. But who knows? It may come to that time at some point in the future for us. But I think looking at all of this, the stuff that's happening, and I've said this since the beginning, in my opinion, all this other stuff, the war stuff, the pandemic, the Big Brother, all that kind of stuff. I don't know that I need to sit here and list everything off. To me, those are symptoms. Those are symptoms, and I know a lot of times we focus on them because it seems as if those things are what directly affect us, or at least immediately affect us. The pandemic affected us. A World War III would affect us. The border crossing stuff. If the economy collapses and plunges, that's going to immediately affect us. But again, those are just symptoms of the greater problem, and the greater problem is really spiritual. And that is the reason why I believe we're getting into those last days. We're watching the love of men wax cold. I don't see how you can say it any other way. And even in examples that you might be able to say, oh, there's love, there's peace, there's love here. You get into it a lot of times, it's very false. It's a very false love, a false peace, a false love of humanity. It's not a true biblical godly love where we adhere to those biblical standards, and I'm speaking of kind of the gay trans movement. Oh, we're supposed to just love everyone. It's supposed to be peaceful, and that's what I see that all the time. Well, Jesus is all about love. Jesus was all about love. He was also the Lion of Judah. He is the Lion of Judah. And when he comes back again, he's going to have that sword in his mouth, and he's going to come to do some pretty horrific things. And they don't want to talk about that stuff. They only want to talk about the lamb part of it. Oh, he's this gentle little lamb. He's this painting of this guy that, just looks like he stepped off of some kind of, hippie festival. He's all beautiful skinned and beautiful hair, and he's not rough at all. That's not true. He is and was a warrior, and there's definitely examples of that. The point is that everything has become perverted, which I believe that is part of the days of Noah thing, is the perversion of truth, the perversion of creation. I'm not going to go deep down this rabbit hole because I know some of you, your minds will explode and think I'm a horrible person. Others, not so much. But if you read in the book of Enoch, and it doesn't matter whether you believe that is, legitimate or not, it talks about the things that was going on at that time. And it wasn't just that people were bad and sinful, it's that they were perverting everything. It says even the plants and the trees and the animals. And I believe that that's not just necessarily talking about sexual perversion. It's just talking about perversion in general of the Father's creation. You know, all this genetic modified stuff. That's part of it. This perversion of the truth, this perversion of love, all of that, this perversion with children that, you know, well, a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. That's all perversion of God's truth. And to me, that is the days of Noah. I mean, there's certainly other things, but to take the Father's creation and try to say it's something different, take it in the truth is part of his creation. His creation isn't just the planet and the trees and the rocks and you and I. Truth is also part of his creation. He created truth. And to take that and to pervert it, that's very much a days of Noah thing. And so that's something that we have to think about. I mean, that we are in those days, and I believe that because that we are in those days, I mean, again, I'm not worried about timelines. I'm not worried about how much longer, or has this happened yet, or maybe that's happened, or maybe this means that. That's not. I don't really get into that. I understand it. I've studied it, but I don't get into that, because what matters to me is that we are in those days. We are in those wicked, perverted days that man has completely turned his back on the Father, and that man is trying to create himself to be a god. I mean, that's really the basis of what all of these people are trying to do, these elites. It's no different than the Tower of Babel and Nimrod and all of that kind of stuff. They're trying to say that they are God. And that is a perversion of the truth. And the more that we see that, the more that we know the uphill battle that we face, at least in a physical world. The things that we're going to have to endure may become great. And that's where the spiritual side comes in, because as long as you've anchored yourself to the real truth, to God the Father and his Son Yeshua, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be taken care of. It doesn't mean that you won't ever have to experience anything bad. It just means that there will be a level of protection over you. And that's really where we've got to be. And I know that most of you are there. And then others are going to sit and laugh and say, this is crazy. And that's okay. It's my channel. If you don't like it, you can go find someplace else to watch and spend your time. But because of this, because of these things, and I've said this so many times, that's why I prepare. That's why I prepare. That's why I do the things that I do in my home and in our community and in our greater community, where we're reaching out to people around, not just in a ministry sort of way, but also in a way of how we can physically help. You know, what are the things that we can physically do? Volunteering, you know, we encourage that a lot. That what can we do in the area around us? Because I think it's important for us to continue to shine our light in that way, and continue to show the world that God's not dead, that Yeshua isn't still on that cross, that there's still truth and hope and light out there. And I'm not talking about all these like metaphysical things. I'm talking about the truth, the word, and that it is still factual, it's still relevant, and it's still alive, and it's still important in your life. And so we have an obligation to do that. And so that's one of the things that we're doing within our community, along with the preparedness. I mean, it's all part of it. To me, it's all one and the same thing. But I don't even know why I rambled on about all this. But just remember that the world is, that all of this other stuff, you know, when we talk about all these things in the news and the things that's happening, it's just manifestations of what's going on spiritually. It's just symptoms of what's happening. And the more of these symptoms, the more we know that we're getting closer and closer to that time. And the closer we get, the worse it's going to be. Yes, we know the end of the story and how it's all going to play out. But it's the time between now and then that's going to be hard. And that's what we have to prepare for. That's what we have to get ourselves ready in a mental, physical, and spiritual way. Because it's going to affect us in all of those ways. And we have to be ready for that, and get the people, that as many as we can, ready for that too. And that's what we're told. That's part of the Great Commission, is to show people the way that we're supposed to live, to show them, Yeshua's light, and to show them, how he lived by living it ourselves. So as dark as the world is getting spiritually, it's more important for us to be as light, as bright as we can with our light, meaning that we need to be so filled, shaken down, patted together, and overflowing. We have to be so filled with the light of Yeshua that we're like a lighthouse. I mean, we have to be doing that. Anyways, get ready, folks, because it's happening. We are seeing those days of evilness and wickedness, and it's just all around us, and it's becoming so normalized. And we have to protect ourselves, protect our families and our communities, and then still shine that light. And it's getting to the point that, doing extreme things to protect yourselves are acceptable, I think, are necessary. And I'm not talking about stupid extreme. I'm talking about not allowing your children to have phones and internet access, and be cautious of who you befriend and who you're around. These are important things. We need to make sure that while we definitely want to shine our light, we're also not being around the evilness so much that it influences us. Kind of like, I believe it's 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what it is. I think it's 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. And we want to surround ourselves with positive, uplifting, Bible-believing, Yeshua-believing people. I mean, yes, we reach out to people, and we shine our light, and we try to bring them into the fold, but we also need to put barriers around us so that we're not influenced by that kind of stuff. And that's going to become more and more important also. All right. That's about all I have for you tonight. I know it's not a normal video for me, but it's what was on my mind. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare mentally, physically, spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.